Hello there, and welcome to this video where I always say welcome to this video, and of course it's anyway, idiot. Let's have a look at some ideas for lists for the Heralds of Darkness, which is a sub-faction of the new Warriors of Chaos Arcane Journal. The Heralds of Darkness are kind of characterized by being like a mounted kind of army that kind of destroys all in front of it, and there are some interesting builds that you can do with it. There is the idea of doing a triple dragon within it. Personally, if I were you, I wouldn't, because the well, I'll show you. Actually, Heralds. It's pretty straightforward as to why. So basically, the first one you want, if you're going to do that, is Galrauch. Then we need a Chaos Lord or a Sorcerer Lord. It doesn't really matter which, but I'd go Chaos Lord on a dragon, because the dragon costs the same for each, and they both cost the same anyway, but I'd go for a Chaos Lord. Mainly because you've already got a level 4 wizard in Galrauch, and you can't afford any upgrades on them because you need the points. You can also then add a Warpfire Dragon. Again, you can't really upgrade it because, again, you need 660 points in core, because 33% is core, and that'll take us up to 1980. So that's pretty much going to be game over. We can have units of 8 knights of. We can't go Khorne because the restriction. So there are some extra restrictions on the heralds. So the first thing is you've got to have a unit of knights, and you can have a chariot as a core choice. Everything else is basically mounted stuff or monsters. And all characters must have either the fly keyword or be mounted. So Galrauch is fine because he's got fly, which is this restriction here. There's also this restriction here. For each character in the army that has a mark of chaos undivided, it must include a non-character unit with that mark of chaos, and vice versa. So we don't have something with the mark of Khorne. We do have something with the mark of Tzeentch, which is Galrauch. So this first unit really has to have the mark of Tzeentch, so we've satisfied that requirement, which again, Heralds of Darkness, I don't think it's very good, because basically you get to reroll ones when you're rolling charge, flee or pursue dice, which is okay for a fast army, but it's not brilliant. Like, you basically give everything the same finest war horses from Bretonnia. I mean, that's basically what you're getting. And then let's duplicate that, and then we've got a few points missing. So we can swap that around for Khorne. I think we can afford the mark of Khorne on the general, which isn't great, because you need something to kind of march block or charge block the Khorne units, unless. Well, we'll see when we get over onto Warhall how you'd probably want to manage that. And then we've got some 128 points spare, so we can take a chariot and give it, like, I don't know, probably Mark of Nurgle to make it a bit more survivable. And no, we can't do that because you need a unit with the mark. You need a champion with a mark. So is it just 1 for 1? Each character must include a non-character unit. 2 characters. For each character, you must include a non-character unit with the same mark of chaos. Okay, so you can have, as long as you've got a character with a mark of chaos, you can have an unlimited number of units with the same mark. So I don't think I want to go Khorne, actually. I think I want to go Nurgle, because it just makes them a bit more survivable. So let's go Nurgle there, and let's go Nurgle there. And then we've got 8 points missing and 18 points remaining, and you see where this starts to become a bit of a problem. And let's go with probably the Nurgle ones. We want the Taskmaster's Scourge. Can we afford that? No, we've got 8 points. Let's go back to Undivided just with a chariot, and I think that's probably a bit better. Taskmaster's Scourge is a really cool item that gives, basically, you have to pass a leadership test, but if you do, you get plus D3 move, which on knights is pretty useful. So we've got, so we could go back to Khorne, actually, with that. Because we're not going Nurgle on the chariot anymore. I'll go back to Khorne because I want to show you, like, sort of how to manage it. So we'll go back to Khorne. Okay, so that's 1997. That's your army. So you got 2 reasonably large blocks of knights with a 3-up armor save, no ward. You've got a chariot, you've got a Warpfire Dragon, you've got a Galrauch, and you've got a Chaos Lord. So then, if we go to create units on here, let's go for characters. Let's have a Chaos characters, a Chaos Lord. Okay, okay. I don't think we've got the other ones yet. No, we haven't got the other ones yet. So we've got 1, 2, 3 dragons. That's pretty scary. Then we've got Chaos Knights, so 2 ranks, 4 frontage, full command. Nice. So we have 2 of those. Oh, I've accidentally put them in skirmish. Let's turn that off. And then we also went for a chariot. Boom. Ooh, which is there. So that's literally your army. So what you probably want to do is, let's say this is the Khorne one. In fact, let's create a battlefield random. Let's do that. So, oh, this is a bit better from a deployment perspective. Okay, so let's say this is the unit of Khorne Knights and this is the dragon. That's more or less what you'd want to do. You've probably got Galrauch and the other dragon over here. Let's have the other unit of knights here, and let's have the chariot sort of here. And that's kind of what you do in terms of deployment with this army. Just leave the centre just totally open and just bomb it down to the flanks and then crush the enemy in the middle. Now, if they're sensible, what they'll do is just castle up in like a semicircle here and force you into them. Or if they're Bretonians, they'll probably try and outmaneuver you, so they'll probably put their cheap cavalry and skirmishers and scouts and what are they called, the ones with fire and flee, the squires or whatever they're called. They'll probably put them in to bait these into a charge. There's not really a lot you can do about that. The other thing you can do is like put your Tzeentch unit over here and put your Chaos Lord like that just behind. So basically the Chaos Lord can't actually... no, sorry, that's wrong, isn't it? Because it's got fly, so it can fly over. Yeah, I mean, it's problematic, isn't it? It's problematic going Khorne. I'd probably... Yeah. I mean, literally the only thing you could possibly do is like... Put the... I don't know why I'm moving them around. They're all bloody dragons. Is put the Chaos Lord like literally just behind Galrauch, so he literally can't see anything. And then you could then use this dragon to hold back. So if you put him so is like the cut, like if we zoom in, so if the corner of the base is like just like that, they can't maneuver forwards, so they can't charge. So you just block them from charging, unless, for instance, there's like I don't know. Let's go for a big unit of warriors. So bloody hell, why is it default to skirmish? So like, for instance, if they're wanting to charge that unit of warriors, they both declare a charge because they both sort of move simultaneously, you know, when they charge. So you end up getting everybody in like that, if that makes sense. So that's probably the only sensible tactic if you wanted to go Khorne and get the extra attacks from Frenzy. But you've got to be fairly sensible with how you deploy. Now, luckily, these dragons have all got, I think they've all got Fly 10. I'm not sure about the normal Chaos Dragon. It might be... yeah, it is Fly 10. So they've all got Fly 10. So they're all moving a really decent distance. So, you know, 20 inches does get you quite a way up the field. So, yeah. Yeah, cool. Or you can go 10 and use your lumbering to give you a free pivot. You know, so they are pretty maneuverable. The problem is, if your opponent's like quick and good, they can essentially skirt around these dragons and make sure that they're never in a charge arc, or the units that you've got available, you know, for them to charge are you know, suboptimal charge targets. It's not a great list, to be honest, because the other thing is, like, if they've got cannons, right, the first thing they're going to target is the Warpfire Dragon. right? Because that'll go down quite quickly. Then they're probably going to target Galrauch. If not, they picked up Galrauch as the first target for all the cannons and the war machines and stuff. It is very quick and it is very manoeuvrable, and it could do really well. The main issue is, though, that you can't really upgrade anything because of this extra, like, 160 points, right? So if this were like a standard Chaos army, right, we can get rid of the Chaos Chariot because we don't need that. We can bring these down so they're worth, like, I don't know, so you've that's about 500 points. Just assume we've paid the core tax, and then we can start to upgrade the dragons so they're actually a bit more effective. So this one you can make a level 2 wizard. This Chaos Lord on a dragon, you can give him or her like the Talisman of the Carrion Crow, which gives it poisoned attacks. Now, it says the bearer of this talisman gets poisoned attacks, and with the split profile rule, that means that the dragon should as well, and it's a talisman, it's not a weapon. But some people might say it's only the rider. That's, you know, rules as written, it should be the rider and the mount, so it gives the dragon poisoned attacks, which is pretty freaking good. For basically an extra 5 points, it's just insanely good. You could also give it like a brazen collar if you wanted to give it magic res 2 to make it a bit more survivable. There's loads of, I mean, you'd want to give it a few favour of the gods because you want to roll on that table every turn for it, really. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. And then you could go for like you could put the Taskmaster Scourge on your Chaos Dragon, so you could give it an extra D3 move, so it goes up to fly like 13 possibly, which would be pretty epic. You don't get your reroll ones on the charge, but do you see what I mean? Like, you can make, because then this Chaos Lord is now, you know, pretty unkillable. He's got like a 3-up save inbuilt, because we didn't even buy a shield for him in the last one, did we? So you give him like a 3-up save with a 5-up ward and a 5-up regen and poison attacks, which is great. Galarauch's already got regen 5-up inbuilt anyway, and the Warpfire Dragon's got a 5-up ward inbuilt, magic res 2 already, so that's pretty good. And also it's got this Warpfire aura. I think it was the Warpfire aura that basically means that stuff nearby doesn't get a ward save. Now that's the reason why sorry, I didn't mention that earlier. That's the reason why you want your Warpfire Dragon away from your Chaos Lord, because the Warpfire Dragon, if he's near the Chaos Lord, also turns off your Chaos Lord's ward save. I think it's anybody within 6 inches or something like that. Let's just have a quick look. Just make Warpfire or other models, friend and foe, are not permitted to ward save whilst within 3 inches of this model. So that's pretty useful. I mean, this model actually itself has a 5-up regen. It's also got a 5-up ward against wounds suffered that were caused by an attack that has either blah 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 blah. Now, I mean, it says other models, so it can have a ward save against magical and flaming attacks, which makes it I mean, I'm 50-50 on the Warpfire Dragon. Some people really like it. The model is beautiful. It's one of the old Forge World resin ones, so it'll be a pig to put together and like quite painful to assemble and probably quite difficult to paint, because, you know, resin is always quite difficult to paint because of how the details work within the they're all kind of, it's not like the plastic where you kind of have nice clear edges. With the resin you have some quite sharp edges on things, so it's actually it's a very different prospect in terms of painting it, like these things that have been, like, there's loads of little bits all over it and lots of little details that you don't normally get on plastic, so it's a different prospect in terms of painting. But yeah, so that's a kind of a triple dragon list, but I seriously wouldn't do that. Like, it's not very good at all, because really you've got 3 dragons and some other units. Now, the other units your opponent can deal with quite easily. The Warpfire Dragon can be cannoned off quite easily, because Well, it just can be cannoned. If you're up against, I guess, like, if you're up against something like Khemri, 6 bow shabti with a couple of rounds of shooting, getting reasonably lucky, can take out the Warpfire Dragon. But that depends on your opponent being able to... But again, because you're low drops, your opponent gets to basically match up. You know, they can sort of put down a few chaff units first off, and then you've deployed your whole army. So then they get to, like, pick where everything else goes. And then, of course, if you've got a Warpfire Dragon, you know, its leadership is 8. So, you know, with a couple of, like, a few negative leadership modifiers, that means something like the Casket of Souls is going to be doing a huge amount of damage to it. Yes, it's got its 5 up ward and its 5 up regen. Or unless it's got warp spawned, actually. I needed to check. I didn't check that, actually. No, it hasn't got warp spawned. So, yeah, it's pretty survivable even against all that. Yeah, actually, I'm now 60-40 on the Warpfire Dragon. I think it is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, although personally, I just prefer a couple of gigantic spawns because I really like spawns. Like, I'd love for them to have, like, rather than doing this one, them do like some kind of change host, like, which is like loads of spawns and just gribbly things, and like maybe introduce like a swarm type mechanic, which is just basically bits of arms and stuff that have sloughed off, and you know, all that kind of stuff. Like I wanted an army of gribblies, but they haven't given us that. So I guess we'll just have to wait for the Beastmen to come out, because maybe the Gribbly army is in the Beastmen, like a sort of Morgur, the Shadow Grave sort of thing going on. But yeah, so that's the kind of the triple dragon list. But you know, let's delete all these and do it properly, because really what they're trying to get you to do with the mounted stuff is like have like mini retinue. So have like a Chaos Lord with a mark, and then they've got their retinue, which is exactly as it was in the old like Realm of Chaos type stuff. I mean, it wasn't written into the rules, but it was kind of like you kind of had to do it because characters with marks kind of did help the units with the marks as well, which is actually what they tried to do with the old Slaves to Darkness like a few editions ago in Age of Sigmar, and that was an aesthetic that I really, really liked. I liked characters of a mark having an aura that buffed units with a mark with that aura. I really liked that as a concept. So I really wish they'd have done that here. Like, you needed to have a character in a unit to sort of... So you get like a minor effect by just having the mark. So I don't know what Khorne would be, because Frenzy's the obvious one, isn't it? But then if you've got a character in the unit, it's like +1 strength on the charge as well. Do you know what I mean? So like it adds to it. But yeah, and then make the characters a bit more expensive, or make the marks for characters a bit more expensive. But anyway, right. So I think we stick with the Chaos Lord on the Dragon for Heralds. I think that's pretty sensible. You could go for a Sorcerer Lord. But you can't go for Demonic Plate Mail to make it up to toughness 6. The Sorcerer Lord on Dragon is the one thing out of Chaos that really annoys me, because it's toughness 5. It really annoys me, because it should just be like, I don't know why the toughness of monsters isn't just like set at a number and you just take the best toughness, and that's the toughness of the whole model. Because like High Elves, all their dragons are toughness 6 because they're all T+3, and all High Elf characters are toughness 3. So all High Elf dragons are toughness 6. However, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on a dragon is toughness 5. Bonkers. But anyway, that's what they've done. I mean, I quite like that as a build. This is a build already. I'd probably want to give it a magic weapon of some description. We can't afford the Ogre Blade. I just don't like any of the magic weapons. I think if we go down to 2 of those, we can give it the Chaos Rune Sword, which isn't the best. I mean, the thing that you got to remember is they're already got... All hand weapons are already AP1 magical. So you're paying 45 points for Strength +1 weapon skill, and +1 initiative. I think that's possibly worthwhile. But I don't know. I think maybe the giant blade is better because it's got like multiple wound too, which means this is better at like hurting. So you get your strength +1. You've lost your armor piercing, but you do have armor bane too. You've still got magical, and it's only 30 attacks for doing double damage. So it's probably going to have like 5 or 6 attacks at this stage because of the Eye of the Gods. We'll take off the Mark of Khorne. So like you've got up to probably 6 attacks. Like maybe you roll a 6 to wound, and then your AP2, might sneak through. But really, the job of this is, but then again, like a hand weapon, you're just hoping for an attack to sneak through because you've not got any like massive ape. If there was like with Lizardman, the revered blade of Zunki or something like that, so you could essentially just ignore all armor saves. That would be absolutely like Ether Blade or something like that. Absolutely fantastic for taking down like those high elf dragons and stuff because they've normally got like a 2-up or a 3-up save, which is like their first line of... Well, the first line of defense is highest toughness. Then they've normally got a brilliant armor save. Then they've normally got a ward and or a regen as well. The job of this is to be that, it's got a high armor save, it's got a 3-up armor save, it's got a 5-up ward, it's got a 5-up regen. All of that is pretty good. Yeah, the only thing that you're missing really is like a one-off 2-up ward sort of ability. High elves have got that, which if you're taking high elves and you got that dragon, definitely put it on your dragon because like chances are somebody at some point is going to hit it with a monster slayer, and then you can use your 2-up to say nah. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, that's your character. So we've got a Chaos Lord. He's undivided. So core, we need a unit of knights, so let's whack him up to 10. Let's get a decent sized unit of knights. We're going to give him lances, obviously. We're probably going to make the Chaos Lord Nurgle because that basically makes him... you've got to reroll 6s to hit against him. So let's do the same with these knights. So this is like his little retinue. So that's pretty good. And let's go for the Taskmaster's Scourge to give them an extra D3. No, we don't want to do that with them, do we? We don't want to spend too much on these, actually. We just need the 660. Let's whack a chariot in here because chariots are cool. Don't really need any of that. Undivided will do. You want it to get the charge off, so you want to be able to re-roll those fear and terror checks, really. You don't want it to be pulled around by stuff because they're not amazingly manoeuvrable. Nurgle's pretty good, so we might go Nurgle later if we've got spare points. And then we've got 222 points spare, so I think if we go for like a typical, some flails... I mean, I like making them Khorne Mark. I don't mind if they get pulled around then because they've got loads and loads of attacks. Let's have a Horsemaster to... don't give him a banner because, maybe give him a musician because they might have to rally at one point. Musician's not likely to be the last one alive though, is he? So it's not really much point. Khorne means you've got frenzy, so you're immune to psychology until you've lost a round of combat. So you're immune to panic, basically. So... Khorne, you don't have to worry about that. And then you probably want a couple of Vanguardy Warhounds because, again, going back to a point I made earlier, it just gives you like more deployment choices. So they've got 5 things that you can drop that can move around, and they don't need to be where they started. So you've got so if somebody's gone for like a highly elite army, like with the 5 dragon thing, then you've got all of this. And going back to like the anti-other list, all of this can deal with all of that. This Chaos Lord is so much better than the other Chaos Lord and the Waterfire Dragon and Galrauch. So this Chaos Lord could probably tank all 3 of them. Like, not even joking. He could probably tank all 3 of them. And then you just smash everything else into the dragons and combat res them off. And then we've got loads of points spare for other stuff. So I think what we probably want to do is we probably want a Sorcerer Lord, probably in a chariot, probably undivided, and I will almost certainly go for my favourite new combo, which is these 2, and Battle Magic. So we've got all the cool stuff. We know what we want. Level 4, obviously. So we've not got that much points left. We've got 350 points. That is enough. That is not enough for a Warfire Dragon. What else do we really want? I mean, we want some chosen, I think. Not do we though? They're they're quite tricky to wield properly because they are so expensive. So we definitely want the icon. Do we want the icon of darkness or do we want the blasted standard? Blasted standard allows you to reroll ones against shooting. I've taken that a few times and I've not really got much use out of it. So I think we go for the icon of darkness, to be honest. And then we probably want the Taskmaster Scourge for the extra move. That's pretty good. Because, like, you know, getting them up to movement 10 with, like, you know, a 9-inch. So they've got a 19-inch threat range now if you roll the 3 on the D3. And that's going to be the general. Right, so we're getting quite close to... Oh, God, and that's about it, isn't it? Again, there's not a lot, is there? I mean, but this is chaos, isn't it? There's not a lot. There's not a lot. I mean, I'm tempted to just go for chariots, to be honest. And chosen chariots are good. Yeah, let's go for some of them. Chosen chariots are good because they've got countercharge, which for a chariot is freaking great. So let's just go for 2 of those, I think. Yeah, I think that works quite well. So they can go in front. Yeah, so they can go in front. Actually, let's make them Nurgle as well. Yeah, this is looking good. So they can go out front. They've got the counter charge, so if somebody charges them, they get to do their impact hits and stuff. They probably don't die. I mean, they're pretty survivable. It's got like, what, 4? They got 4 wounds each. Normal chariot's got 4, hasn't it? So it's got 4 wounds. It's got a 3-up save. It's toughness 5, so they're reasonably survivable. The only thing that's really going to get through them is a dragon in one turn. I mean. Or maybe a unit of chosen of Khorne or something. But so they get the sort of the counter punch. They might not die. Even if they do, you're then hitting them with loads and loads of like flail attacks, and you've got these Chaos Knights as well that can form a core. So let's just make it. I think let's go for let's do the characters first. So we've got a Chaos Lord on a Chaos Dragon. Boom. We've got a... So let's put him over there. We've got a Sorcerer Lord on a Chariot. Let's put that over there. Then we've gone for Core. We've got Knights. That's exactly what we've got. Another unit of 10 of them. And then we've gone for Warhounds. Just 1 rank. Boom, boom. So there and there. And then we've gone for Marauder Horse, just 1 rank of those, just a champion, boom, boom. So that goes there, that goes there. And then we've gone for special, we've got 1, 2, 3 chariots, 2 of them being chosen chariots. So, and then 1 sort of counterpunchy chariot. And was that the list? Off the top of my head? Yeah. I mean, I quite like chariots because of all the impact hits. Impact hits are really good. Right, so we've got these 2 chosen chariots. So they, how far is that from the front? 12 is about there. So we've got these 2 chariots here. We've got the dragon. We've got that chariot. We've got this unit of Nurgle stuff. We've got this behind, that as a screen, and that as a screen. They can vanguard up to there like that. So that's kind of like your basic deployment if you were against somebody who's quite combat heavy. And what we're going to try and do here is punch through the centre. And these kind of act as like a counter punch around the side. That's one thing we can do. The other thing you could do is you could like sort of deploy all this kind of stuff over here first. Oops. To bloody hell. To like give your opponent the idea that you're deploying there, and then everything else. Or in fact, just to sell it a bit more, you could put the Sorcerer Lord over there because it can always move out of the way. And then with everything else, we could just have like a really strong flank force here, like this, that sort of thing. So then, if effectively this goes forwards and tries to create a flank problem here, and your Sorcerer Lord does as much damage as possible, whilst this just smashes through this flank and then just rolls along the rest of the army. So this gives you options because it's quite quick. And you know, don't forget the lumbering thing, that you can just make a normal move and then you get a free pivot of up to 90 degrees, which is super useful. Same is true with the dragon. So if you go like your 10 inches with the dragon, you can do that. Do you know what I mean? Then you can. So if somebody's gone there, this gives you like a massive kind of, you know. Did we give him the Taskmaster Scourge actually? I can't remember. No, we didn't. We gave him the Giant Blade. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's probably the best option for this type of list. You could go super heavy on knights and just like take chosen knights and chosen knights and knights, and then let's do that one actually. We're only half an hour through, so let's get rid of all of these units because we don't. Actually, that's not a bad set of options, is it? We just need to swap out the Chaos Dragon for a Demonic Mount, I think. And then the Sorcerer Lord, again, let's keep him on a chariot. I quite like that. That's giving us a load more points spare for them. I don't want the chariot here because I don't really want the Warhounds either. I want as many points spare for knights because this is what we're going for in this build, aren't we? So let's duplicate that. So we've got 20 knights. And then let's add some chosen knights. Let's go. We don't want too big a brick for these. Lances, full plate. Where's drilled? Drilled. There we go. So that's now. Oh, we've got some points spare. Let's go for. Can we have? Yeah, we can. BSB with a lance, and let's put him on a Chaos Steed. Yep, and magic items, we can go for the armor of +1 toughness, and no, not that one, it's that one. Yeah, that's pretty good. We've got some points over, so let's reduce that down to 5 then, and then so the Exalted Champion, we'll go with the Chosen, I think. So then we've gone for, yeah, that's I mean, but again, there's just not a lot there, is there? I mean, you're putting a lot of faith in these. Oh, they've got Mark of Khorne, haven't they? So you need a thing with a Mark of Khorne. I've cheated. The Marauder Horse in the last list don't have Khorne. Because I haven't got a character with the Mark of Khorne. Because of the other restriction of this particular thing. Which is, yeah, it's very annoying. Now, another thing you could do instead of this Exalted Champion is get rid of that and add Friedel, so she's just an Exalted Champion, and then she can give a unit of any Marauders ambushes for free. So we can do that with these Marauder Horsemen. In fact, probably 8's better, so then you can have them like as a single frontage. So then these can come on. Can't give them Khorne, obviously. But these can come on, because we haven't got a character with the Mark of Khorne. So these can come on like later as ambushes, and you get to pretty much choose when they come on. And that's not a... But then she's just that's all she's doing, really. She's pretty rubbish other than that. I mean, yeah, I mean, she's got decent-ish attacks, but, like, yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Let's go back to the Exalted Champion, BSB, Shield, and magic item, which we're going to go for the full plate option. So that can go with Chosen. It's got 2 up armor save. And a 5 up ward, I think. Chaos armor 5 up. Yes, so it's got a 5 up ward inbuilt, which is okay. And then I might keep the Marauder Horseman as an 8, to be honest. Yeah. So then, what does that look like? So that we want 8. Oh, we don't want... Oh, I don't know how to... Let's get rid of them, get rid of that, we'll get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Were they Chaos Knights? Yep. So let's have some Chaos... Chosen Chaos Knights. We want 1 rank, we've got full command obviously, and then we want some core stuff. We want some 10 Knights again, full command, and we want a... stop that. We want a character who's a Chaos Lord with a demonic mount. So that goes there. What the hell is that? Right, it's on a rhino. And got an exalted champion on a steed who's the BSB. So that can go in there. Why has that gone for 6? Oh, I haven't gone for premium, so I can't reorder it. Oh, that'll do for now. We know what that's supposed to look like. Was that it? Oh, 2 units, knights, 5 chosen. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big army, is it? It doesn't look very impressive on the table. Because, like, what are you really realistically going to do with that? That's going to go on one. I mean, this is just a flank attack thing, isn't it? And then you're just going to try and protect your chosen from shooting. So that's going to do that. That's going to do that. These are going to come around here as like the second wave. That's going to do that. That's going to make them move again. Then that's going to try and hotfoot it over here and not get charged by anything while they take a while to die. Fingers crossed. And then that's going to... There's just not a lot, is there? Or you could just go for like a big punch of the whole thing. So we've got 2 units of knights like here. This is kind of here, and that's there, because this Chaos Lord functions as a skirmisher. So what you want is like clear lines of sight for the Chaos Lord to basically get in anywhere, a bit like that. So if somebody charges in there, he can flank it. If somebody charges in there, he can flank that. If somebody gets around here or gets into the, do you know what I mean? So the job of this Chaos Lord is to go and help out wherever he's needed, and then he just stays in combat and just doesn't die basically. And then everything else just kind of tries to get combat res while the Chaos Lord holds things up. That's the job there. But again, it's not a very big list, is it? It's not a very big list. Now, one list that I do really like, and when was this? This was a few weeks ago. Is my oh god. Have I gone nearby? No. Let's go... Oh, no, I have gone nearby. Yeah. So, it was at Warhammer World. Oh. I forgot to put the game system in. Silly Billy. There it is. So, Ross Veal, who won this, he's got a good list. So he's got a Chaos Lord, Dragon, Nurgle. He's gone for Brazen Collar. Now, with the new Battle Tome, I'm pretty certain he'd upgrade that to the one with poisoned attacks. He's got a Sorcerer Lord on a Demonic Mount with Ruby Ring of Ruin, Infernal Puppet, Spell Familiar. I don't know how he'd rework that, but that's pretty similar to what I had. And then he's got Marauder Horse with Chaos Undivided, 2 units of Knights, Warhounds, and then some Dragon Ogres, and then 3 Chariots. So that's a pretty good list as well. So that's going to work pretty much the same as my sort of list with other stuff. But he does have the Chaos Lord that just won't die. Basically, it just won't die. And he's gone for a Flail. A Flail's a smart choice because it's always AP2. The Chaos Lord is pretty high strength anyway. So yeah. So, yeah, the Chaos Lord's pretty high strength anyway. So, it doesn't necessarily matter that you only get the strength bonus in the first round of combat. A Flail is better than a Lance, though, because it's basically a Lance in the first round of combat, whether you charge or get charged. And also, it's got AP2 forever. The downside of it is that the Flail doesn't have magical attacks. However, if you are charging some ethereal thing with your Chaos Lord, you can just use their normal hand weapon instead of the Flail, and then you get magical attacks and AP1 because of ensorcelled weapons. So that does give you a lot of options with that Chaos Lord. Yeah, and remember as well, like Chaos Knights, they've all got ensorcelled weapons. So have the Chariots. So again, they can all like clear off a Banshee or something like that. They will have absolutely no problem doing that. yeah, so that's the Heralds of the Darkness. Again, as a sub faction, like, it's cool, it's interesting, and if this is your list, you might as well. I mean, has he? No, that's got Marcus Inch. He's got Marcus Inch there. I mean, the only thing you'd have to do is upgrade a unit to have the Mark of Nurgle, so he could take a character with the Mark of Nurgle. But that's not particularly difficult. Like, you could drop something and give one of these chariots the Mark of Nurgle, and then this is fine. Um, you know, uh, yeah, this is a really good list, and I think it would fit very well with the Heralds build, because essentially you just get to reroll ones on your charges, which is making your charges a bit more reliable. So just by the by, like, the maths on getting a 9 on your Swift Stride with all the dice as they work, it's nearly a 50% chance of getting a 9. Not quite, but it's nearly a 50% chance. Getting an 8 is like up to about 60%, something like that. If you get to reroll ones, however, your chance of getting a 9 on those dice increases to, I think it's 56%, or 50, I worked it out a while ago, 55, 56%, something like that. Which is really good. So it's definitely worthwhile doing if that's the list that you want to take. Now, my list, which I'll come on to next time, involves some more Forsaken, some Marauder Horse, some Chosen stuff. And I've put a Bone Grinder Grind in for now, Giant. I need to rework this, but I'll do that in the next video when I look at putting everything together, what you can now build with the units that have been introduced in the Arcane Tome as like a standard Chaos player. And this is probably what I'm going to go for. Something like this. I'll swap out the Demonic Mount for a Chariot, to be honest, because it's better. But yeah, this is probably what I'll go for. I much prefer a Demonic Mount on a Chaos Lord, because you can make him like a little bullet that can just like ruin people's days. But anyway, that's another video for another day. We'll work through that, and tactics and stuff that we can do with that, because there's lots of really cool stuff now that you can do if you don't have a dragon. And I genuinely don't think you need a dragon with Chaos. You've got enough cool stuff that you can hold off a dragon with, like, so for instance, the demonic plate thing, you put that on a lord on a demonic mount, and you get a Chaos Lord that's got 5 wounds, not 9 but 5 wounds, and because the demonic mount gives you an extra wound, and he's still got full plate, and he gets +1 toughness, and he's toughness 5 already, so it goes up to T6, which is excellent. Then you combine that with poisoned attacks and a 5-up regen. So you've now basically got a 3-up, 3-up, 5-up, 5-up, and you've got toughness 6, which is great for like 5 wounds. I think he's got 4 wounds base, hasn't he? Has he got? He's got 4 wounds base. So yeah, so a demonic mount takes you up to 5 wounds. So he's pretty much like he's getting on to be about as survivable as a dragon anyway. You could also give him like -1 to hit, because you can still put the Bedazzling Helm on him instead of the +1 toughness. So his toughness like 5, but -1 to hit, 6 is to hit re-roll because you give him the Mark of Nurgle. You can make him as survivable, well, not as survivable as a Chaos Lord and Dragon, that's not true at all, but getting on, he'll be able to hold up anything on a dragon for a turn or two whilst you get another unit into the flank to give yourself a load of combat res, or you manage to charge your the downside of that is that it doesn't have fly, and fly like 10 on a Chaos Lord is mega, like, let alone the dragon that comes with it. So that's, maybe a Chaos Lord on a mountain. There's so many options now to build out a standard Chaos list. This one, however, Heralds, I'm not a massive fan of. If you're somebody like Russ Veal and that's basically your list already, there's absolutely no penalty really, apart from having to give one of those chariots a Mark of Nurgle, or dropping the Mark of Nurgle on the Lord. But having to give your chariots, or you could swap over. You could swap over. So one of the units that have the Mark of Tzeentch now has the Mark of Nurgle. That's no points difference, so that wouldn't be terrible. So that's the Shadow Grows limitation. I really do wish the Shadow Grows limitation was a limitation on all Chaos armies. I think it would be super flavourful. But yeah, I mean that's my Heralds of the Darkness stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If anybody's got any other ideas, that'd be pretty cool to have a chat about that. We're at the point where I say the usual things at the end of a video. Namely, if you've liked the video, there's a button that you can depress that may not depress me. If you've got this far in, perhaps you might consider subscribing. Unless you've just hated listening to me waffle on for the last 45 minutes, in which case I'd suggest you get a life. And turn off after 10. If you could make it to about 12 or 13 minutes in, that would be nice, before turning off. That would be good. Just in general, it just helps the algorithm. So I'm told. I don't know. The weird thing about the algorithm is you get told so much shit by so many different people, and it doesn't seem to matter. The thing that gets people to watch videos is just putting them out. They don't have to be, I've had a 50-50 response on whether I should get a backdrop or not. I probably should, because my front room is quite big, but I don't know where I'd put it, and I don't want to move the table now that I've got it all set up. So yeah, anyway, other content on Chaos. I'm going to do a sort of a basic painting tutorial on that thing at some point. I'm going to also do another one on standard lists of Chaos, and then I'm going to do another video on updating my tier listing videos. So going through all the tier lists and updating them again. They'll probably be a bit shorter because I'm just adding stuff in rather than going through everything again. I think that's about it. So other than that, I hope you've have a great day, and hope to see you again soon. Toodaloo.